Hello, everyone, to a surprising and heartfelt story concerning a journey that anyone involved could have predicted. Remember, you are a war veteran, portraying scars in seen and unseen formats. After years of frontline battles, you come upon an injured Pitbull one rainy night, abandoned and curled up by the roadside, and your journey from there, the journey of the dog, moreover. The life of a global superstar unexpectedly intersect in ways that none could have predicted. This is more than just a rescue story, a story of hope and resilience, and how a single tiny dog managed to improve so much people's lives. Come explore the unexpected with us. A man who had lost everything and his connection, a dog who appeared to have forgotten, and Lady Gaga, have faith in me. You will want to savor every moment. Prepare yourself to feel all the emotions. From suspense and pain to excessive joy as this unusual story develops thus, together. Let's embark on this incredible journey. Rain pattered against the windscreen of the truck. Every droplet sliding departure, the memories that Jack Holloway attempted to bury. Time was running out on his battered old pickup, moaned along the road that deserved it. Jack hardly ever was in a hurry anymore. Almost 3 years had passed. Ever since he left the Afghanistan battlefields, however, the tranquility he had hoped to discover in everyday life continued to be evasive. His retreat was the little house on the outskirts of town. A settlement to avoid the world. In addition to his body, the battlefield had left its mark. However, there was also a lengthy scar down his left arm on his soul. Suggested a narrow escape for him. However, the emotional wounds were much more difficult to heal. Gunfire filled every night. Dreams and comrades' anguished cries brought him back to the terrifying truth of his past. The street lights flickering glow resistant to the rain shroud. Hardly noticed Jack the roadside until a tiny shape initially I got his attention. He believed it to be only a piece of trash. The wind blew him away. Yet as he drew nearer, the image got clearer. A dog. Jack quit the truck, peered through the glass, and shifted in a park. The dog lay with its fur soaked and curled up, residing in the winter rain and the ice chill. He hesitated. The kind of person who would pick up stray animals was not him. However, he was stopped by something about the dog's posture. He was reminded of the kids he had met on the battlefield. He could never forget the pain in their eyes. Now the dog's eyes expressed the same thing. A few glimmer of hope mixed with despair. After stepping out of the truck, Jack soaking quickly through his military jacket in the rain, he reached out to the dog with his rough hand while kneeling. Despite flinching, it didn't attempt to run. Rather, its eyes were fixed on him, silently pleading for assistance. Quite a small one, considering the weather. "What are you doing outside?" Jack's voice seemed softer than usual. The coarse dog didn't respond, but its gaze conveyed all the information. Jack scooped it up gently in his arms. Its thin, trembling body is startlingly light. The air was filled with the smell of damp fur and muck. However, Jack didn't care. He put the dog on the rear seat of the truck, placing an old jacket on it. The driver then clambered back into the seat. Jack took the dog inside his house. His home was only a small one, a place with 2 bedrooms featuring a spacious kitchen and a modest living room near the fireplace. He placed the dog on an old rug, the house's only warm spot. The dog remained motionless. Its weary eyes are tracking Jack's every move. He grabbed a towel and started to dry its fur. It had muck on its brown coat, as well as splattered with dried blood. When Jack saw the scratches and bruises, he squirmed. "You don't look so well across its body," he muted, "but it's okay. I'll take care of you." Battlefield triage memory flooded back. Jack completed his old supplies, getting a small first aid kit out. He carefully used warm water to clean the wounds. The worst of them were bandaged and antiseptic was applied. The dog occasionally whimpered, but as he worked, he didn't resist. Around the dog's neck, Jack saw a leather collar. A tiny engraved tag made it surprisingly well. He held it out, reading the words aloud in the hopes of striking a chord inside himself. He paused. The name, His gaze was fixed on the dog, which now rests peacefully. However, it has a fleeting glimpse of life in its gaze. I hope so. With a faint smile, Jack said, I suppose it's your current name. I have no idea where you're from, but you're staying here from now on. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat by the fireplace in a worn armchair, observing, as I hope, rest peacefully in the house's stillness. Something started to stir inside of him. From the time I leave the battlefield, Jack had the impression that he was hardly there. Instead of actually living, there is hope. This tiny and dangerous creature, a strange, unsaid sense of purpose was brought. Across the face of hope, the firelight danced, highlighting its resilient yet soft features quietly. Jack said, We've both been through hell. We haven't. But perhaps we can support one another in overcoming this. Of course, the dog didn't respond. However, Jack sensed an unsaid connection, a common concept between two souls in a world that is unforgiving. Seeking solution on his worn-out wooden chair, Jack awoke. His back hurts after sleeping through an awkward night. Sunlight in the morning filtered by the blinds, the floor with pale, golden streaks, stayed curled up on the rug beside the fireplace. Hope in the midst of the chaos. Her steady breathing had a calming rhythm. Due to stretching, Jack had become accustomed to it. Jack remained and observed the dog. Even though she was still failing, the banks held firm. I hoped it appeared more stable. A tiny feeling of relief swept over him. Despite the fact that some of his own injuries were healing, considering his right, kid, Jack said, Let's have a breakfast. His voice broke the quiet in the kitchen. Jack didn't have a lot of food on hand. A few cans of black coffee and meat stale bread for him. Grocery shopping was hardly a priority. However, today was unique. Jack was aware that he needed to get something ready for Hope. He used the stove to reheat some canned meat. He put in an old bowl that he discovered, tucked up in a corner of the kitchen. Experience of the gesture, I hope she raised her head. Though slightly brighter, her eyes remained cautious. Jack set the bowl close to her, getting down on her knees to support her. Eat up. To improve, you'll need your strength. Hope gave him some thought. Evaluating the situation's safety, she then lowered her head gradually and started eating. This simple scene made Jack smile and gave him an odd feeling of completion. After breakfast, Jack made the decision that it was time to see a veterinarian. He was aware that his meager medical knowledge was insufficient, and the care she needed would be given by an expert. The small town a few miles away was a veterinary clinic. However, Jack always found it difficult to leave his home. Upon entering the modest clinic, a bell over the door said he was here. The town's veterinarian, Lucy. A glance away from her desk, a childly woman with bright eyes and a warm smile. Lucy was unique for her commitment to her job. Jack Holloway greeted her. She teased that she didn't expect you to be here. Reasons for visiting? Jack nodded, glancing down at the Hope he holds. I found her really upset last night. I believe you could have a look. He was led to the examination room by Lucy, who nodded. She handled Hope carefully. She put Jack and the dog at ease with a gentle touch. This dog is a fighter, said Lucy, assisting Hope with one of her leg wounds. Not all of these injuries are new. However, she has been alive long enough to survive. Do you have a name for her? I hope. Jack responded. I believe she brings hope, which is why his voice is steady. In order to meet him, Lucy paused, her gaze, a flicker of comprehend empathy in her eyes, or what? While she was stilling analyzation, her collar of hope was given by Jack. What does this mean to you? It seems unique. Lucy closely analyzed the leather collar. This leather is real and well made. Individuals wouldn't discard it lightly. Are you certain she has no owner? If she does, Jack sneered. They failed to provide for her. The collar was turned over by Lucy. Observing a brief description, Jacket overlooked the LG Foundation property. The LG Foundation, puzzled. Jack repeated, What does that meant to mean? Lucy frowned uncertainly. However, it might be an organization or charity. If you'd like, I can investigate it. Jack's curiosity was pulsing inside of him. It wasn't just a stray dog. One, Jack felt compelled to uncover a story she had. I hoped to start recovering in the days that followed. Her appetite got better, and she growingly confidently moved around the house. Her presence caused Jack to discover that his life was changing. Previously empty days were now filled with purpose. Additionally, Lucy started to appear more frequently in Jack's life. She called frequently to see how Hope was doing. Occasionally, they stopped by to help with her care. Their discussions went beyond what they had hoped. Reflecting on life's past and future aspirations one day, Lucy called with a voice full of excitement. "Jack, I found something. The Lady Gaga Foundation is supported by LG Foundation. The singer founded the charity. They run a program, Dog Training to assist people in need, veterans in part." Jack froze disbelief, overcoming him. "You're expressing the hope that it might have been included in that program." "Very likely," confirmed Lucy. "If you'd like, I can get in touch with them and inquire further." Jack was hesitant. He had a part that wanted to hold on to hope forever. However, another part of her felt compelled to reveal her past. Ever since he saved her that night, they had entwined their lives. However, Hope's tale appeared to include layers. Jack hadn't thought of observing the window in the yard. Jack observed Hope playing. Within him, a feeling of conflict swirled. Choosing to keep the dog that had given him hope, and developing her real originations, Jack did not quit considering what Lucy had told him. Hope was once included in a program for special training. Under the foundation of Lady Gaga, there was a vague familiarity between him and the name Lady Gaga. He wasn't someone who followed news about entertainment. However, the relationship between this small dog and a world-class superstar, his Hope, was interesting. "I am now nearly fully recovered." Followed Jack all over the house. Her energy was bursting. Her perked ears and bright eyes answering all of his name calls, she became an increasingly integral part of Jack's life every day. However, as their bond grew, I therefore followed Jack's advice to uncover Hope's past. A.S. Agreeable Lady Gaga Foundation, contacted by Lucy. After many phone contacts and emails, she got a response. From a program in charge of IT, they verified that Hope had been among the canines. EDUs to assist veterans psychological trauma dealing, but during a training session, she had disappeared. Nobody has been aware of her whereabouts since months ago. When Lucy told Jack this information, he fell silent. "I hope this isn't a stray." A whirl of emotions rose within him as he spoke. However, how did she end up being so abandoned? They are unsure if Lucy was replaced. During transporter training, something might have happened. However, they are relieved that she is safe and want to see her once more. Jack repeated, "See her again," having the impression that someone was going to take away. "Yes. There is something irreplaceable." Lucy said Lady Gaga can set up a meeting and is in Los Angeles. What do you consider? The days that followed were packed with inner conflict. A part of Jack wanted to hold on to Hope forever. She had become to be his greatest source of solace, assisting him in discovering equilibrium and purpose in life. However, another aspect of him came to light. The story of that Hope was bigger. A job he may not be able to complete. Each time he looked into the eyes of Hope, it seemed to Jack that he was speaking to an elderly commander. Another horror survivor, she was more than a dog. She was a representation of loyalty and tenacity, qualities that Jack treasured. Ultimately, Jack made the decision to get in touch with the foundation and decided to give Los Angeles some hope. Choosing the journey wasn't simple. Going away from his quiet home, enter the glorious Hollywood world, it seemed as though I had entered an alien territory. A Lucy volunteered to be with him throughout the lengthy journey to Los Angeles. They exchanged intimate tales about life, the war, and their once lost hopes. Hope was seated at the rear. She rested her head against the window, appearing to be at ease during the journey. As soon as you get to Los Angeles, after being escorted to a lavish mansion, Jack and Lucy, the Lady Gaga Foundation's headquarters, Jack was overwhelmed by the place's opulence. However, when the Lady Gaga herself, he quickly refocused. She didn't seem to be what he had anticipated. Despite her worldwide fame, Lady Gaga welcomed them in modest attire, and when she saw Hope, she smiled warmly. She knelt, and her eyes lit up. Outstretched arms, Hope, She claimed that her voice was emotional. I hoped to jump with joy and run to embrace her. Feeling a pang of loss, Jack continued to stand to the side. Greetings, Lady Gaga. With much enthusiasm, however, Lady Gaga turned to him a moment later. She said sincerely, "Thank you. I appreciate you taking care of her and saving Hope. I have no idea what I might have done." Jack nodded if I had lost her forever. Not knowing what TOs say in this story, he felt like an observer. However, in practice he had been essential to Hope's journey. While they were speaking, Jack discovered that Woman Gaga's passion for assisting veterans was deep. She had started the dog training for that reason. A program TO aids soldiers fighting the shadows of their history. She paid close attention to Jack's story, and the two soon discovered that they had a same objective. Aiding people who were considering the darkness within. Jack was given the opportunity to join the program by Lady Gaga. Not only as a dog caretaker, however, as someone who could share his experiences as well as motivating other veterans, the offer took Jack by surprise. However, he also sensed a strangeness inside himself. Perhaps this was more than just a meeting about hope. Additionally, it was about locating a renewed purpose. Since in his own life there was nothing like Los Angeles. Holloway. Jack had been the gorgeous lights in the city, and he was overwhelmed by the quiet noise. Despite the chaos by his side, he experienced an unusual sense of calm and hope. His anchor was she, setting him down in a foreign world, and being overwhelmed in his initial days at the HQS of the Lady Gaga Foundation. Jack thought he was an outsider. The employees were devoted and passionate, however. The quiet life was a stark contrast to their world. He was accustomed to meetings, events for fundraising, and their days were filled with media engagements. Being the center of attention wasn't something Jack was used to, especially at the moment when everyone seemed eager to find out more about the man who had hope restored. Lady Gaga paid frequent visits to Jack and Hope. Communication and comprehending Jack's journey. Hope was taught to assist veterans. "Did you know that?" she asked one afternoon. "Like you?" Lucy told me. Jack nodded. "However, I was unaware of how extensive your program was." Lady Gaga gave a kind smile. "I started this program in order to change things, especially for individuals such as yourself. Leaving the battlefield does not end the war. Sometimes it stays with you. We can be healed by these four-legged friends in ways we never thought possible." Jack was invited to watch a training. Dogs were present during the session at the center. Like a hopeful, were reduced to assist veterans in overcoming nightmares. Social isolation combined with anxiety. Initially, Jack hesitated. He wasn't sure if he would fit in with such a setting, especially one instance where everyone seemed to be staring at him. However, when the session unfolded, Jack became aware that he was not alone. The program's veterans told their stories on the battlefield, of loss, pain, and dreams left behind. With her uncanny sensitivity, I hope aiming to comprehend every person's feelings from painful memories, she comforted a veteran. She rested her head on someone else's knee with grace. Jack watched with amazement. Unable to control his inward emotional outburst, Hope had altered his life as well, but was now giving others hope. Gaga. One evening, Lady Jack was invited to the major charity event of the foundation to raise money for the program. A star-studded concert was held. Jack is not used to the noise and glitz. Declined at first, but Lady Gaga calmed him. Adding hope to your story is incredibly motivating. We can assist a lot more people if you share it. Jack reluctantly agreed. Backstage standing, he thought he was getting ready for battle. His palms were sweat-soaked and his heart raced. However, when he entered the stage and saw the expectant face of the audience, he was ashamed of himself. After the war, Jack told his story of loneliness in the freezing rain, finding hope, and how she had helped him get back into life. He spoke honestly and candidly, striking a deep chord with each person present. When he was done, in a standing ovation, the audience rose. He was joined on stage by Lady Gaga, his hand resting on his shoulder. "Jack, thank you sincerely. You didn't only save hope," she said. "You all saved us after it happened." Jack was deluged with offers and messages from businesses excited to work with him. However, the most poignant responses, veterans from all across the country sent letters talking about how his story selected them, inspired by this support outpouring, choosing to do more. Jack, with Lady Gaga and Lucy's assistance, he started his own initiative. A house, a place for veterans to find purpose and solace through rescued animals care and training. The program did more than only aid in veterans' recovery. However, a second chance was also given to abandoned dogs. Jack's bond with Hope grew stronger. Through it all, she was more than just a friend. She represented resiliency and rebirth. Jack understood that out of Hope, a new sense of purpose had been found in him. A goal for more than just himself, however. He could now touch hundreds of lives. In the hopes that Jack might see a reflection of his own path, strength from brokenness, from hope, and together to despair, they demonstrated that even in the most gloomy circumstances, new starts are available. The place of hope haven Jack Holmes had never thought it would exist. Let it become a reality. Alone, constructed with the Lady Gaga Foundation support and a lot of donors, a shelter was not all that the center was. For both humans and animals, it represented rebirth. Jack remained at the doorway, astonished by the straightforward sign that read, "I hope I found a home for fresh starts." He wore pride and gratitude on his chest. As Hope surrounded his legs, she kept wagging her tail, as though she shared in his happiness. Hundreds of people gathered to celebrate on the opening day. Old-timers who love animals, and a few celebrations those who had aided the project. Lady Gaga arrived in simple attire, a stark diversity from her commonly glowing stage presence. She conversed with attendees for a while, especially the veterans who were looking for support. Jack received an invitation to speak. Speaking in public was never his forte. However, this time he was compelled to share his hopeful journey. Personally selected by his side, he recalled their encounter on that rainy night, the challenges they encountered, and how they had changed the lives of each other. Jack said, "I hope you saved me." His tone was steady and solemn. Additionally, "I'm hoping that Haven will be a location where others it is possible for both humans and animals to find their own salvation." Hope Haven become a haven for comfortable stories, quickly solace for veterans, and the new lives of abandoned dogs begun. Jack, with his employees and volunteers, diligently worked to make sure everyone, either a human or a dog, got the care they required. Mike's story was one that stood out. A childly old man, just back from the Middle East, haunted by painful memories. Isolated, it was difficult for Mike to connect with anyone. Hopefully, he's been introduced to Max, a dog that had also experienced abuse and abandonment. Initially hesitant, over time, Mike and Max grew closer, discovering each other the comprehension that they both desperately required. Frequently, Jack observed them from a distance, a hopeful reminder of his early days. They need each other's support. Like I needed a haven of hope, did more than simply alter the lives of those who came. Additionally, it changed Jack's the aimlessness and loneliness. Purpose and connection took the place of what he formerly felt, deepening his friendship with Lady Gaga, developing a true bond that goes beyond the project. She turned into a somebody he could confide in, disclosing his fear and deepest thoughts. Lucy, the old town veterinarian of Jack, became a resident vet at the center. Her relationship with Jack grew closer over time. They frequently sat on the center steps on quiet evenings, observing the canines as they play in the yard, and considering the future. Months went by, and Hope have changed from a center for rescue into a community that is thriving. Veterans who had previously sought assistance, their volunteers returned, sharing success and healing stories with them. Hopeless dogs abandoned become faithful allies to those in greatest need. One day, Jack was standing at the entrance to the center, observing Hope play alongside the other canines. "Do you ever wonder why Lucy approached him?" Slowly, she asked. That one rainy night was the beginning of it all. Away from his gaze, Jack smiled. "I have no idea what gave me hope that evening, but I know she saved my life," he said. "And now, I just want to share that with other people." This was Jack's extraordinary trip. A story about Hope and Lady Gaga that started on a seemingly atypical rainy night that changed not only a man and a dog's lives, but also give thousands of others hope. This tale serves as a reminder that occasionally the biggest changes can come from the smallest actions. A choice to reach out, and a moment of kindness, a flame maybe started by these, that illuminates a whole new path. If this story had an impact on you, please let us know by giving it a like. Remember to share this video to disseminate its positive message widely. Moreover, if you want to join us for more comfortable stories, click subscribe to active notifications. I appreciate you listening and sharing. We hope that this story gives you hope and strength regardless of the situation. I'll see you in the following video.